Hey tubers, McCleanerNash. What I wanted to do was do a head-to-head with the M16 and the M21. Alright, so let's start out with the cheaper knife of the two. This is the M21-14 SFG for G10. I picked this up off Amazon for only 38 bucks. It is a dual flipper system. Okay. This is the spear point version with the crest. I'm sorry, they call them VEF serrations, V-E-F-F. Very different than your triple point type serrations. And it's got a titanium nitride finish. G10 scales on the handle. Holes through the handle for, you know, aesthetics, plus obviously helps in the weight. Very thin G10 weave pattern, which I like. It's not very grippy, but not very slippery. So I like the smaller weave pattern. That's just my personal preference. The thumb studs on these are more for show, because when you flip it out, this flipper right here is going to be hitting your finger unless you're holding it way back here. So, I mean, 9 times out of 10, you're just going to be using the flipper on here. And, you know, the thumb stud obviously locks into place right there. Double flipper, so it's almost like a fixed blade, which is nice. What else can I tell you? It is a 4-position clip. Very nice clip. I like the design. And one thing you'll notice on this red dot is the CRKT. It's called the auto lock system, security system that they patented. And basically, you can see the liner, and there's a little, hold on a second. There's a little bar right there at the tip of that tanto blade. I don't know if you can see it in the light. Right there. And that's preventing the liner lock from being pushed over unless you depress this button right here, which you push down. So it's kind of a pain in the ass, but you got to get used to it. It's a safety precaution. And then you're able to move it over and put it down. It's kind of a two-hand system. Some people can do it with one hand, but for the most part, it's two hands. The steel is 8CR14 MOV. It might sound familiar to you. It is a little bit different than what Spyderco uses on their famous, you know, persistence and tenacious and resilience knives. Except that is 8CR13 MOV. If anybody can chime in and tell me which one is better, 8CR14 or 8CR13, I'm not quite sure. I know that with the Spyderco, considering that price point, everybody's been pretty happy with that steel. They haven't had too much issue with it. So I would imagine the same goes for the 8CR14 MOV as well. I can't see it being too much different, but let's see. The only negative thing really that I noticed is the liner lock is about 60% over. You know, usually it's supposed to be dead center or a little bit to the left, but this is kind of a little bit too far over. The liner, I mean, see how the liner travels, how far the liner travels over from here to here, and it's almost to the edge of the right side. And it's actually kind of hard to depress. When you depress this release and push it over, there's a lot of tension there to get that bar all the way over. And partly because if you look at that liner, it's actually, see that split right there? There's a split here, but there's also another split here. The liner is split in half, and then it reconnects here, which I thought was odd. I've never seen that before. See how it's split in the middle on the liner itself. And I think that's why this thing's flexing way the hell out, which I'm not crazy about, but you know, it's pretty tight, and the liner is pretty thick. So let me know if people have experienced that as well with this, with the 14-SFG, the G10 version. Anyway, this is the M21. The only difference between the M21 and the M16 is the blade shape. This is the Tanto, but now this is an upgrade. This retails for $79.99. This retails for $129.99. Obviously, you can get it less than that. I picked this up for, I think it was 38 bucks on Amazon. This one I picked up for 68 bucks, so it's $30 more on Amazon. It's the Tanto style, which is the M16. This is, like I said, the M21. But the big difference beyond the blade shape is the aluminum handles and the steel. Okay, this is 8CR14 MOV, and this is AUS 8. Okay. Now you can debate which one's better. AUS 8 is typically known as a little bit better, but like I said, with that Spyderco 8CR13 MOV steel, I haven't heard very many complaints at all, and I have heard complaints about AUS 8. So you'll notice the blade shape, obviously, on the M16. Now the shade, this is also a titanium nitride finish. So here I'll just compare the shades real quick right here. You can see the M16 on top is a lighter shade. This is more darker. I like the lighter shade on the M16 personally. The aluminum feels good. It's obviously more slippery than the G10, which I'm okay with because there's also the dual flipper. So I mean, your hand's it's not gonna travel past here no matter what. So I'm okay with that. It's got the same thing, the safety release, but you will notice that there's one liner instead of two. And you'll also notice that the liner is a lot thinner, which I was surprised because this is a much more expensive knife. And also you notice that the liner doesn't come over very much, just comes over a little bit. Lockup is still tight. The G10 versions have the dual liners, and the aluminum has the one liner. But you'll see the difference in thickness. On the cheaper knife, the SFG, 14 SFG is thicker, which I was surprised. And this one is thinner, the SF, which was kind of shocking. But like I said, lockup's still pretty tight. I prefer the Tanto blade. I just like the way it looks. As far as the serrations are concerned, these VEF crest serrations on the top look cool, but functional wise, I've read that with heavy use, these curl very easily. Triple point serrations are just proven. They might not look as cool, but their use is a lot better, in my opinion, than these crest serrations. Let's see, what else? Let me know your thoughts. I wanted to, this is going back regardless if I keep it or change it out. There's obviously a flaw right here. It didn't say that there was a factory, this was a factory, flawed version, but there's a hole right there that's not supposed to be there. As you can see, it's already getting drilled into the other one, and you can see it's there as well. It's not supposed to be there. See how on this one there's no hole, there's no additional hole. See? So if I do decide to keep this, I'll replace it. But for a $30 difference, let me know if you think the AUS 8 is better, is worth the money. Leaving blade shape aside, do you prefer the aluminum over the G10? Just interested in your thoughts and comments on this one, because I'm a little bit torn on which one to keep and which one to send back.